Hey everybody, how's it going? Here we have my cat. His name is Mr. Clinton, and Blackberry is sniffing around the background over there. Now that you know the names of my cats, I figured I'd get to the topic of today's video, which is going through the loveliness of the real estate market crashing in New York City. There are a lot of people, like me, that are looking at these prices of, $30,000, $80,000, $100,000 a month for spaces that are the size of a garage, and honestly just kind of laughing as it all comes crashing down, as many of you watching in normal parts of the country likely are as well. If you read any of these posts that I will link to over here about what's been going on in New York City and just how a lot of this real estate market works, it really does appear to be like a Ponzi scheme. I pointed to this post from Laminar Flow in a recent video where they're talking about why they're not able to lower their rent and why buildings wind up being empty for really long periods of time. I never thought this was something that would be sustainable for as long as it is, but it finally is crashing down, and yeah, it's a guilty pleasure of mine to laugh at it. Sue me. So over here, you'll see a space that I was talking about in a recent video. This says $41.66 a square foot. Now, you must understand that last year, even when I was going to dilapidated shitholes, they were over $79 a square foot, and that's after negotiation. It took a lot of work to even get them to the point of $79 a square foot for a dump. Blackberry, that's where I put my mouse. You cannot sit there. I'm sorry. You take a look at this one over here. This, it looks pretty nice, and it says 4,000 square feet, $41.66 a square foot, retail, and that's the price they're advertising. You move on over here, and you'll see this looks like a lower level commercial space. So you would have it's advertised as retail, but it looks like you can advertise on the ground level. But then after you walk in, you would have to walk downstairs to get to the space. $39 a square foot. Over here, you have a space that, again, you have to walk down a lower level. Looks like this is a gym, and it does look like you can advertise on the first floor that you have your gym there. And when you go downstairs, you are paying $35.60 a square foot. This is a full $31 a square foot less than the space that I have now, and this is actually in a more desirable area. You check it out over here. This is second floor, so I probably shouldn't even be including this. I just got tricked into it because they're advertising it as retail even when it's on the second floor. But it is $32 a square foot, which is, to be in this area on 29th Street, insane. You check over here, and honestly, I shouldn't include this. This is a triple net lease. Triple net lease means that, yeah, you're going to pay the property tax, and you're going to pay all the building expenses, and you're going to pay, I want to get my car washed on the way to pick up my check, pay for that. It's one of those leases where the landlord pretty much expects the tenant to pay for everything. Avoid signing them. The next place over here is on Broome Street, very close to where some studios that I know used to be located. This is on 356 Broome, 4,400 square feet, and $40 a square foot, and it is being advertised as retail because it is indeed ground floor retail. Now, it is touted as first time on the market in 30 years, and when you look through the pictures, it looks like first time it's been cleaned in 30 years was probably 30 years ago. Can you imagine how happy a group of MacBook repair people would be in this little prison interrogation room over here? But anyway, you could put your imagination into it. You make it look nice. You could actually afford some renovations when the space that you're renting is $40 a square foot. The place I have right now is $66.66 a square foot. As I mentioned in prior videos, I wasn't sure why 6666 was the number that was being utilized per square foot until I got to meet one of the members of the co-op board on Friday. Now it makes total sense. But this is something that I think is really interesting because a lot of people like to say that, that I was wrong about the real estate market being unsustainable, that I was wrong about these spaces not being worth what they were, that eventually that all this is going to crash, and that me laughing at this because coronavirus happened is mean. I don't think coronavirus is the problem here or the bubble. The bubble is the ridiculous garbage system we have in New York City for commercial real estate. Coronavirus is the needle that's just walking up to the bubble and going, phew. But the bubble was there. That bubble had been inflated. That bubble was unsustainable. That bubble was ruining the city because you have so many places that are vacant that could be utilized for businesses or for people to live, and then providing jobs to the people in that community so that they can actually afford to live in that community rather than being on assistance or broke or living in their parents' basements or destitute and homeless and so on and so forth. but you're not able to have people in these spaces because of what people like Laminar Flow very well outlined over here. And I think that you should all take the time to read this post because he did a couple of follow-ups to it, and it's all really well done. I went over it in a recent video, and I think it would be really fun to have this guy on the channel. This city's real estate system for commercial real estate is a Ponzi scheme. And yes, 110% I will be laughing as it all comes crashing down because I have been living it for this entire time. It makes doing business in this city a nightmare. It makes living in this city a nightmare. And, honestly, a big part of me just wants to laugh when I have these realtors regularly telling me about why this is worth $200 or $300 a square foot. They can say that to you with a straight face. They can say to you with a straight face that it's not a bubble. It's not going to pop. Somebody is going to come along and take this space. It's beautiful. You want to lock in the savings now, right? So there's not a lot of times that I really wanted to stand over someone and laugh because I was right, but particularly when you're taking part in a system that is ruining society, I will happily laugh as it comes crashing down. I'm just kind of curious what you all think in the comments about this happening in New York City and what you think is going to happen when all these spaces go on the market that are actually affordable. What do you think tenants that are locked into leases and spaces that are less affordable are going to do? Let's say if they, didn't have attorneys that were as good at dealing with leases as mine was. Well, what do you think they're going to do? What do you think is going to happen regarding small versus large businesses? Do you think that large businesses are just going to snap up all these spaces and instead of having a chase every 3 blocks, you have a chase every 1 block? Or do you think that this is going to be a revitalization of the community where you have all the small businesses that got pushed out over the past 20 or 30 years come surging back because they can afford it? Or do you think it's too little too late where it doesn't matter if you drop this shit to $10 a square foot because the money in New York City is gone, the people are gone, and even if you can open, there's probably going to be some sort of shutdown or other thing that doesn't allow you to actually do your job. I really am curious. I have these conversations with my friend, old personal trainer about this, and he's more pessimistic about it. He's more optimistic about it. I'm more pessimistic about it. One of the things about being a pessimist is that as a pessimist, I actually like being proven wrong because being proven wrong means that the world is better than it is. And I kind of hope that I am wrong about my pessimism, but if I don't see myself being wrong about this pessimism, but if I am, this could mean really great things for the city. Once all these spaces go from being empty to actually having businesses that can afford to pay their staff decently because they're not getting all their money just to a landlord and property tax anymore. Kind of curious what you all think. Let me know in the comments down below. That's it for today, and as always, I hope you learned something. I'll see you all in the next video. Bye now. Say bye, Mr. Clinton. Good boy. You were so quiet this video. He's my kitty.